Hi guys, this is Carrie Loudon with Red Peak Gym. If you are hoping to compete in gymnastics in some regard, today's meeting will help provide you the information that will be useful for this upcoming season and to prepare you for what is expected. Yeah.
Oh.
All right, so now that we have everyone here, we're gonna start our meeting off. And hi, you can just grab these two. Hi, Liberty. I'm glad you're here in person too. This is great. So sorry.
She's like, I want to be by my mom.
Okay. All right. So we're just gonna today we're just gonna discuss what's expected for competition, how to compete when those opportunities are, and what the prices are for this upcoming year. And so right now, all of your athletes, we only have like 2 or 3 athletes that train like 3 hours a week. Those that train 3 hours a week are obviously progressing at a much faster pace than those that train for an hour and a half. And for competition purposes, it's nearly impossible to get an athlete ready with competition performance qualities for a very low amount of time. So so we want to encourage all your kids, if they're looking to compete, to do a minimum of 2.5 hours a week. And we have added 2 new classes to our schedule to reflect those that choose to be a part of our team gymnastics. And so they can keep coming if they wanted to their normal class that they are already enrolled in. And the additional options for the team class is Thursday from 7:15 to 8:15 or Friday from 3:30 to 4:30 p.m. It will be taught by either myself or Shannon, our other gym director, gymnastics director. And so we know that that's may be a financial burden, and this is not required for anyone. This is just for those that might be interested in that opportunity. So the gymnasts and parents, they will be responsible for paying that added tuition, the leotard, the warm-up attire, the grips, and then lots of gymnasts like to wear wrist guards or wristies that help to secure the grip in place. Right now, all the gymnasts have a grip that has no dowel in it, the circular cylinder that helps to secure them over the bar. They're just wearing a piece of leather that helps to protect their skin. But eventually they'll want to buy a real gymnastics grip that has the dowel with it. We'll let you know when your athlete's ready for that. What happens to the actual leather is that it starts forming a natural ball at the top, and it keeps tugging on the bar, and they're like, oh my gosh, my grip's like coming off my hand because the leather's pulling up. And then we're like, you're ready for a grip. So the grips are like $65. And so right now, most of you have that piece of leather that's like $10 or $15. You might pay an extra $10 for wristies. If your wristies stink terribly, don't wash them. It's a good thing. It helps them get even grippier. And so you might want to get like a bag to put the grips in so your car doesn't stink, or so that you don't throw them accidentally in the wash. And then some gymnasts that start tumbling a lot. Hi, welcome. We'll send you the link for a few details that you might have missed at the beginning there. So, and then some gymnasts that tumble a lot, they might want to get what's called a wrist guard. It just kind of helps to protect them from overuse on arching their wrist. Usually those are like $20 or less, but usually we don't have athletes complaining about that until they're like doing a lot of back tucks and starting to twist and that sort of thing. Some gymnasts never use them. Most gymnasts that start doing a very difficult vault, which is a round off back handspring onto the vault, and then they flip full twist. Those people use wrist guards a lot. So these are things to just think about. We're totally not at that level, but those are added costs that you'll have to think about going forward. Moving into the meet fees and or judges fees, when we host competitions, even if we are the host gym, we'll still have to pay for our judges. So there will be a fee involved, which is what we usually pay for when we go to a meet, plus the cost of using someone else's gym. So the meet fees, they all range depending on the location and the preferred host, but usually they range around $75, but I've seen it go all the way up to like $150 for a meet. The
Not
meets
for
that,
this level though.
the meets that we'll be attending are about $75 to $85. That should be about the range we'll expect. The coaches fees, the coaches fees will include the coaches fees will include the coaches' travel expenses, the time that they're there coaching, and a meal stipend. If we have to travel overnight, that might include a hotel. We're not there yet, but those are another fees to think about in the future. And we also will require a commitment agreement that will just help to divide the total cost of competition between the total committed athletes, so that people don't make it really rough for one athlete. And so another thing to be aware of, we're building our program still. We're trying to build a building, and so good prayers in our direction are definitely helpful. So what we're hoping to do right now is just a very light version of what we're hoping to do in the future. But it's really a great opportunity to build the pattern of excellence that we're striving to work toward. And as these girls are progressing, this is something that Shannon and I kind of put together in this paragraph. So I'm just going to read it if that's okay. We will all see something beautiful happen in our gym culture and within each other. It's that magic that makes coaching so validating. Committed athletes builds character. It teaches them to set and achieve realistic goals at their ability. It exposes our strengths and weaknesses, empowers a voice and standard for ourselves and others. It teaches perseverance, teamwork, physical and mental strength, and most of all, joy in hard work. These are all attributes that we love about athletics and what we love about coaching you guys. So thanks for being willing to do it and being excited to do it. So whether you actually compete or not, we just want you to know that as athletes, we love and appreciate all of you guys. And we're just helping you to find joy in your own self-discovery. And our proper technique is at our forefront with your personal growth through our team Peak Power. Okay, so how we compete. Oh, by the way, does anybody have any questions right now before I move on? All right, so how we compete, we don't really know how the athlete will compete or whether they like it until they're put in that environment. Sometimes our strongest athlete ends up doing terribly under pressure, and then they get a little bit fearful, like, oh, maybe I'm not so good at this. Other athletes learn from that first environment and they adapt really quickly. And the goal of all athletics is that you make quick adjustments. You have to make quick adjustments to your equipment. And sometimes your skills will feel different. And so you have to make quick adjustments through your techniques, like, oh, wow, this bar bounces a little different than my bar at gym. So I'm going to have to make that adjustment. So eventually you go from the coach telling you what to do to then coaching yourself to make your own corrections. And that's how athletes really, really start to excel at a professional level. Okay. We can prepare the best we can, but basically from every opportunity, we're gonna gather a lot of information, and then what we're gonna do is come back to the gym and be like, okay, let's reflect, let's talk about this, let's find ways to make it better for you the next time, and that's how we grow. So like falling and making mistakes in performance is good. It's gonna happen. And sometimes we're really impressed because an athlete will work off of their adrenaline and outperform anything they've ever done in practice. So that's kind of liberating as well. And like today, like for a good example, some of our best athletes fell like 6 times on bars only because they forgot that they can't jump down, because if they jump down, that's considered a fall. So it's kind of just teaching them like, oh, you have to combine the sequence of all your skills and stay on your apparatus. So the opportunities to compete and those prices. So we're planning on doing the Coral Peak Gymnastics meet. It is scheduled for March 4th. And let's see. I forgot to record this on my paper. And you can scratch off barefoot gymnastics. We're not going to do that one. We're probably going to do an in-house mock meet. Which we will only charge you for a little bit of our time. Okay, and the Coral Peak Gymnastics performance is actually going to be in Hurricane. And what's the date of the Utah State meet?
June 10th. Utah State meet is June 10th. That's with the summer games. We'll have to tell you all about that registration will be very different from any other gymnastics meet that you do since it's through summer games. But I know the person who's running the meet. So I'll be able to tell you everything.
So the Coral Peak cost is $95 for that meet. It's a little more than I expected it to be, but it will be a great opportunity. And then this won't be, will we have to do the USAG?
No. Well, yes, we will. If we do Coral Peak,
they'll have to be sanctioned with you. Okay. So the other new bit of information, and do you remember how much that was?
$25 for sure.
Okay. So looking down at item number 1 here for competition. So we'll get you the link and stuff like this, but you essentially, once you compete, you have to get a USA Gymnastics number. It identifies your athletes through the system indefinitely. Is it indefinitely or per year?
Every year.
Oh,
Every
per
year.
year. Sorry. And luckily for us, usually the cost is like $75 for that. This year, because of COVID and stuff, and they're just getting people back into it, the cost is $25. So that's going to be nice, and you'll get an invite from USAG Gymnastics. Once you get that invite, then you'll pay their fee. We're not associated with any of that, but once we see that you're like a registered athlete, then we can then, going on to number 2, we can then register you to the meet, and you don't have to do anything. You'll just have to. And then we are moving to an automated billing system within the next month. And so we'll just basically tell you what the cost is, and then when we plan to automatically bill that to either your bank account number or credit card that you put on file. And that will be just the meet fee. And then going on to number 3, either Shannon or I will be traveling. We probably won't both travel unless we're ambitious. But that way it helps to keep the cost down for you as well. And that will give you the cost of the coach's fee after the meets, because we don't always know how long the meet will last. Sometimes the meets go really fast, like 2 hours, and sometimes they drag out for 6 hours, and it's unpredictable for us. And so we just feel like it would be most fair to you guys to just say, we'll let you know what the coach's fee is after the conclusion of the meet, when we know how long it takes to travel to St. George, have the whole competition, and to travel back. And hopefully that's fair to you. If you feel like there's such thing as what's it called when the parents booster clubs. Every gym in the nation has a booster club when they start competing. And so if you want to be like oh, I want to be that parent that is part of the booster club and I want to organize and I love to organize, we give you a big perk for that. Like it helps to eliminate some of your gymnast comp fees because you're helping us be organized and do all those things. And you're helping to raise money to increase. So whoever chooses to do that, usually there's a staff of booster club people, but it helps to give you perks to not have to pay.
Can I add something to that?
Yeah.
So booster clubs are usually put in, they are organized to offset the competition cost. You can never use booster money to pay for your kids' tuition, because then they would be unable to ever qualify for a college scholarship.
Does that make sense?
So
So if we give you money, then you're exempt from scholarship purposes. But it's
Yeah.
different when you're raising that money for a competition.
So yeah, it can go for your competition, any competition fees. It can go for coaches' fees. It could go for their leotards. It could go for their warm-ups. So the more ambitious the booster clubs are, you know, the less that you have to pay. And I've been in multiple booster clubs before, and I've had some booster clubs that like we did a ton, just a ton. And like it dropped my costs dramatically. And then
Because
there's
she has two gymnasts that competed for many, many years.
Mhm.
Like KK is actually one of our coaches, but she was also a gymnast for 10 years and all the way up to level 8. So, and if you have questions about competition, like gymnasts, she's your go-to person because she's been there and done it.
Mhm. Yeah, and so and then some of the other ones, you're just giving your credit card. But it's kind of fun. I enjoy the booster club, and I think it really helps bring the team together a lot. And then sometimes the booster club will do outside things for the girls and to help them bond with one another. And I think that's really good. And eventually we hopefully would be hosting meets, and then we would put the booster club. When we have a meet, you can do a lot of stuff and make money. And the more people that participate, the more money that you can make that will go to your child's gymnastics. So their fees. So booster clubs
and
can
that
be really
basically
great.
provides more opportunities at no added cost. So that's the
I think
nice
it also could go for like camps and clinics as well. So,
yeah, because once our gym is built and complete, we'll be hosting gymnastics camps, gymnastics competitions, and parkour and ninja and some other things too. But like that would be nice if your kid's like, oh, I want to go to this camp, to not have to pay $1 for it. So, and then maybe this is just common sense, but number 4, you'll need to arrive to the meets in your leotard with your comp warm up on and your hair done really nice and that sort of thing, and on time. I've had it where a gymnast, my parents traveled me to California and they somehow got lost or confused, and or maybe we went through traffic, but I was an hour late and I missed like half of my competition. And you don't pay less, you just get to experience less, and that is what it is. So just make sure you're early or on time. And I don't know if we'll find out what other strict policies they require. Like some places, if it's a sanctioned meet, sometimes they say no nail polish, no multiple earrings, and that sort of thing. But we'll find out what the requirements are per meet, and we'll notify you guys so you're prepared. And I think that's all. Do you guys have any other questions for us?
So this team class, is this in addition to the other class they're also taking?
So like Lorelai's in our Friday hour-and-a-half class. So then what we're hoping to do is, I mean, probably the easiest case for her would just be to go from 2 to 4:30 on Fridays. And so when all the other gymnasts leave, this acro class will still be happening, but then our intimate group will be training on whatever we need to. But the emphasis will be like, we're already warmed up and ready, so that we'll be like eventing and really focusing on the performance factor of competition. And if, for example, like Liberty, she's here, but she's in our Tuesday class? No, Thursday? Tuesday. So she's in our Tuesday class, but there's no option for her in Tuesday evening. So Liberty would either have to change to our Thursday or Friday class, or stay in the Tuesday class and just come back on Thursday or Friday for 1 hour. But for you, Liberty, since yours is that unique situation, we would say, Liberty, you come 15 minutes early, you warm up yourself, and I'm not coaching you during that time, but the expectation would be that when Thursday at 7:15 or Friday at 3:30, you'd be ready to like do your events with the rest of the team without us having to re-warm up and take that time. Does that make sense? That was a really good question. Thanks. Anything else? So like for Navy, she's already training 3 hours a week. You can either eliminate, if you don't want to pay more, you can either eliminate one of her classes and just put her into the team class, or you can just add the team class to your budget. Okay. Awesome. Does it sound like something fun? All right, well, we're excited. We definitely think your athlete has the potential, and we're hoping to grow more competitive athletes. The thing is that Shannon and I decided it would be best that we didn't start at the base level. So right now, the way Excel works is Excel bronze. I'm so sorry. The Excel bronze is the base level. Excel silver is the second level up. Excel gold, then Excel platinum, and then diamond. Okay, and then they go on to level 8, 9 in USAG, which is different than Excel. We've chosen to do Excel because it's a little more creative and fun, not as stressful. And yes, I was a collegiate athlete. Yes, I was a collegiate coach. And yes, I had a very successful career. But to me, I'm more concerned about validating your athlete as a person and developing qualities in the athlete. And that means I want to have fun through the experience with them. I love being their gym mama, and I want it to have that feel still. That feel. Yeah. So the Excel is the route that we've chosen to take. And so we will be training your girls as gold. So we'll be training them at a higher level than what they're competing. That's pretty normal for all gymnastics. And we're not really interested in competing Excel bronze right now, even though we do have a lot more kids that probably could compete at that level. Just for, because we are not really sure who's really committed to paying all the extra. So you guys are our fun test round. So anyway, we hope that people see joy in the route of gymnastics competition, as we have enjoyed. And yeah, we hope to help you guys progress in your goals. So thanks so much for your time. And that's it.
Do you have a potential date for the in-house mock meet that you were thinking of?
We
Not yet.
don't, but it would probably be before we go to Coral Peak, because we want them to feel really ready to go to that Coral Peak performance. And so we'll probably do a mock meet before March, and then give them the opportunity to be like, oh, they're gonna like, it's gonna feel different. And then that will help prepare them to go to that mock meet. Preferably, I would like to do that mock meet like no less than a month before the mock meet. So it'd probably be 2 to 3 weeks before that Coral Peak performance, just so that whatever we've learned from that first experience is retained going into that next experience. Some people came a little late, so just to clarify, do you remember the date of that Coral Peak?
January 4th or March 4th.
Okay, so
Sorry, March.
for the paper, you'll have to add.
Not January.
Coral Peak meet is March
That's true.
4th, and the cost is $95. So on Liberty's paper, I don't know if you heard that part about it. Okay, and our hosted home meet will just be very cheap compared to that.
Yeah.
All right.
This is just a
Good question.
different question, but as this grows, the competition grows, do you foresee not this next year, but in future years, adding more meets?
Definitely.
Okay.
Absolutely. So higher level athletes usually do 6 to 8 meets a year, but we will be doing probably 2 to 4 meets until they're really like
And
looking to get college scholarship, until they're way up, like probably 5 years is what I imagine. And that's kind of just the normal course of like growth in the person and time for the body to acclimate to the new skills and demands.
we do have a state meet there's a big state meet every year. I think athletes should go to at least 3 meets before they're prepared. And I don't know, I'm talking prepared, but we didn't think that we were quite there yet because most of these kids are training all year round. And so we're kind of just jumping into it. I mean, they've been training, but they've been training for these meets. So we're just kind of like slowly getting them ready. And then next year we will definitely be a little more serious about our competitions and whatnot.
Yeah, so for Excel Gold through probably Excel Platinum, most girls are training minimally of 6 to 12 hours. Like that's, would you say more than that?
No, platinum, I would say about 12 hours. I mean, you might have some gyms that if they have a lot of higher levels, that you could see kids training for 16 hours a week, but yeah,
So
12. I think
to 12 hours a week is what.
when
is
you're getting
normal.
into diamond, that's when you're in that. And then when you're getting to optionals like 8, 9, and 10, those kids they're putting in a lot of hours in.
Yeah, so optionals, which is like 5 years away, you're looking at putting 12 to 20 hours in per week.
And just stand up.
It is
Regular.
It's a
you live
part-time job.
you live in the gym. When you're a gymnast, you live in the gym.
Yeah,
And
like you are a committed person for that path.
you can ask this child right here. She grew up in the gym. She lived in the gym. This is like her first time out
But
of
the
the gym.
coolest part about it is that she's no longer a gymnast, and it was not all for naught. She's a cheerleader now, and there's cheer scholarships. There's a program called Acro Tumbling. It's an Olympic sport now. It's like cheerleading on steroids, and they do like round up, back handspring, double twist. They can get scholarships for acro tumbling. They can get scholarships for cheer. If they go the gymnastics route where they're committing themselves to like 16 to 20 hours a week, and they get a scholarship, it's a full ride scholarship, which doesn't just pay your cost of tuition, but cost of living and like meals and stipend and stuff. So like you get paid. You're a professional athlete. You get paid to go to school and represent a university. So that's kind of cool, because a lot of other like dance routes are like, oh, you got $1,000 scholarship, but it's nice if you're investing that much all along and they work hard to get to that point. It's nice to see that reward on the back end, and it's nice that it can help them if they don't pursue all that and they don't get that high in athletics with gymnastics. They can pursue it Acro Dance, which is also a competition diving.
I've had multiple gymnasts turn into divers.
It's like it's the same shapes, just going
and it's
landing upside down.
Sometimes I feel bad for
versus
the
on
divers because like, I've had some gymnasts just do gymnastics forever, and then they dive for like 1 or 2 years, and they're the ones who get the scholarships
Yeah,
because they're just
and I think
phenomenal.
diving at some schools is a full ride scholarship as well as like I know I have plenty of teammates that chose they were really good on vault, and then they became a pole vaulter and got a track scholarship instead. So just so you know, like gymnastics is multi-sport capabilities. If they don't end up finishing it all the way in gymnastics, it will help them for years and years to come in lots of sports. And I do have a few friends that got multiple scholarships, like multi-scholarship athletes. So they did like gymnastics, track and field, and basketball, or gymnastics, track and field, and soccer. Soccer is the better route because the motions are short. Shorter. Anyway, thanks again for your time. We're gonna end this for the recording. Does anybody have questions here before we cancel? Okay, I see nothing. All right, thanks so much for listening in.